Good evening, Facebook family. Welcome to Marriage Mondays with Nick and Trina Brinson, also known as the Lady and the Coach. We want to thank y'all for joining in tonight. We just want to talk about tonight's topic, which is money matters. But until we get a few more people in, we're just gonna just welcome the folk in as they come. We have one person in so far. We can't quite see who that is, but appreciate you joining us. Who do we have in so far?
Mr. Tony Jones, first one on board. Congratulations. You don't win anything, but we're glad to have you. Charles Brown, first one to share it. Likes, I think that was a share, like maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't get my phone.
Mr. Willie Hucklebook, appreciate you joining us tonight. Ms. Kia just shared it with everybody else that's interested in joining us tonight, and we just want to thank those folk that are coming in right now. Just want to say we hope y'all had a pleasant and great, wonderful Thanksgiving weekend and Thanksgiving Day. We also had a wonderful visitation with the in-laws, and it was a great time with the small few that we had at our gathering. We just hope that y'all was just as nice as ours was. Anything you want to say to the people? We got Miss Evelyn Smith.
Yep,
that's on tonight. She said, "Good evening. A great topic for discussion." Yes, ma'am, it is.
We think it's an important topic that people will be able to glean some information from. I think most people can always relate to, money issues or this topic of conversation, or can learn from it. We may identify it as an area of weakness or area of strength, but money is always a matter within marriage. And if left unattended, it can really become a significant issue. Many marriages don't last due to money problems. They can be a big part of the contention.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's something we don't want to overlook. Hello, Miss Zakia Sylvan, Zakia and David, and the little one on the way. Who else have we got? Rhonda Johnson, Myra Christian, a lot of regular folks here. We appreciate y'all. Did I say Francine? Charles and Francine, they're usually the first ones on board.
Team overflow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we appreciate that. Some people kind of come into marriage ready to go with money, feeling confident and secure, but I don't know too many couples where both people are strong in the area of managing money. It'd be interesting to, if we were having a live discussion, it'd be interesting to hear some perspectives and kind of where people are on the spectrum of comfort or effectiveness or successfulness in dealing with money, personal money management within the family, and kind of where couples lie with that. If there tend to be extremes, one person's really good at it, one person's really bad at it, or what? Yeah. That would be kind of an interesting survey.
Yep, that would be pretty interesting. With that said,
Mr. Eddie Garrett is on board tonight. Rocky Eddie.
Yep.
We appreciate y'all, family folks.
So I think we're about 5 minutes in, and we want to formally open the broadcast, and first by thanking our Bishop, Finance Bush Jr., and our First Lady Denise Bush for giving us this opportunity to come to you each and every Monday night, and we just want to be thankful to them for allowing us to continue to do this for our ministry. With that said, let's get into money matters. Okay. That word matters can mean several different things. There are things that money can, if not taken in right perspective, can cause situation in your marriage. So that means that money can matter. And when I say matters, it matters on I hate to say it, but the health and the prosperity of your marriage. And in our teachings that the bishop been doing, he's teaching us to become a person of means. So that means gathering finances to sustain you. In part, and that's part of that is having enough money to do that. Mm-hmm. So,
and if you're not on board, on the same page, in becoming a person of means, your marriage can either support that or your marriage can tank it. I mean, if you just quite honestly, if you're not in agreement when you're married, if you're not in agreement with how you're managing your finances, and if you desire to become a person of means that can assist others, there has to be some agreement within the marriage in order for that to come to fruition, or there is going to be a huge opportunity for problems stemming from those changes as you work to become a person of means.
And one point I would like to talk about is that God's plans for money starts primarily in your marriage vows, because there's a part of your marriage vow that say for rich or for poor, for sickness and in health, and to there do your part. So for rich or for poor, whether you got a lot of money or you don't have a lot of money, it shouldn't be one of those things that dictate whether your marriage make it or not. But we know as a people, based on some statistics that I looked up today, it said that 41 of the Gen Xers get divorced because of money. 41% of the Gen Xers get divorced because of money, and 29% of the Boomers get divorced because of money. And that's a statistic in a survey done by a financial group called TD Ameritrade. So with that said, money does matter. So in order to kind of shun away from that and don't let money be one of the topics of whether you and your marriage stay together, we're going to talk about some things that could possibly help establish yourself where finances is where you can handle it and it sustains your marriage. Mm-hmm. So the first one, you ready to start?
Well, you want your finances to actually be a strength within your marriage, because once your money is not a worry or a weakness or a contention in your relationship, whether you have a lot or a little bit, you don't have to have a lot in order to be able to manage your money well. No mm-hmm. matter how much or how little you have, being in agreement and being on the same page and how you deal with that mm-hmm. is really where it affects your marriage. And so if you're in a situation of lack, you need to still be in agreement with how you're going to deal with that lack and how you can come up and promote your lifestyle or increase your finances. You need to be in agreement about that, because on a real level, if there's a lack of money and one person is working and maybe even needs to pick up a second or third job, that's going to take away time from the family. It's going to be stress. And that, if you're not in agreement with how you go about increasing your finances, that's going to cause a problem bigger than the money in your family. So agreement always comes back to the two of you agreeing and how you walk together. Even having a lot of money can be a point of argument and contention. It's about the agreement, not necessarily the amount of money you have.
Mm-hmm. And with that said, that starts with good planning.
Right.
Very, very good planning to understand how to use the finances that are coming in to better suit the marriage and what's going on to keep your marriage where the money is not an issue and everybody understands where the money is being spent and how mm-hmm. how it flows in and out the household.
Right.
Because in our teachings, the bishop teaches that money is currency. It's always moving. It comes in and then it leaves. It comes in, then it leaves. So how are you managing what comes in and then to what's leaving? All right. So with that said, one thing we want to talk about is joint checking accounts or joint banking accounts. Not necessarily checking, but joint banking accounts. That's something that's going to happen in the planning stage. What you're going to use that joint banking account to do. Or if you're not going to have joint banking accounts, how y'all going to manage who does what with the money that they bring in? So having a joint bank account, you know what's coming in, and the both of you are making a decision what code goes in and what goes out.
There's transparency when you have a joint bank account.
All right.
Well, I think there's more to be said with that too, because having a joint bank account can be tricky, because if you have both people pulling from that account from day-to-day expenses, that can be difficult to keep up with and can be a problem when you have money coming out from two different people out of one account. Mm-hmm. And so I think we had that problem early on, if I remember correctly. That's been so long ago. Mm-hmm. And we found out that your day-to-day expenses, we found it easier to have separate accounts that are still joint account, but that's primarily, his account or primarily my account, and we have a account kind of in the middle that we use strictly for paying specific bills. Well, we did that method for a while and have it, but it's to me it can be a little tricky to have too many transactions coming out of the same account, even if you're seeing it. So if I'm thinking it's X amount of dollars in there and I'm spending for whatever I feel is necessary for groceries, and I think it's this amount, and then I purchase based on that, and you purchase it on another side of town, that can get to be a problem. So you have to be able to communicate and to plan and make decisions about how you will manage those accounts. We found it easier to have multiple joint accounts, so that we don't have accounts that the other doesn't have access to.
Right, and in those accounts, this is just our finances have evolved to where we have several different accounts that have specific purposes or earmarked for things. Right. So you don't pull out of this account unless we're paying specifically for this, and those things that we've agreed on to come out of what we bring into the household. What we take from our individual money that we bring in, and we put into those accounts, and we're pretty faithful with that. And so when my personal account, I need something out of there, I don't have to worry about if she's spending out of that account, or she don't have to worry if I'm spending out of her personal account. We know the money that you have in there is your personal money, but those other accounts are made specifically for what we have prescribed them for. And there should be not any transaction coming out of there other than what we
are both in agreement for. Mm-hmm. Right. And it leaves room for a little bit of autonomy too.
Right.
Because who as an adult who wants to have to check, for every little penny you spend? Nobody wants that close level of supervision. You want to be free as an adult to have some flexibility, and so we. That having those joint accounts doesn't mean that you only have one single joint account. You have to decide within your family what works best and what gives each family member a level of comfort, so that they don't feel confined or restricted or have too much responsibility with the money. Or there just has to be, you have to be open and honest, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about that. But in making a decision to figure out what systems work best for your family, because you could probably get 7 or 8 families couples together, and they may have very different systems of how they manage money. So just keep that in mind too. It's just like anything else with your relationship, you customize it to suit your family and your family's needs.
Right, and that creates a partnership in the marriage when you're able to talk honestly about finances, open and honest about finances. That creates a partnership and trust level between you and your spouse. Right. All right. Discuss life. Number 2, discuss lifestyle changes. Choices. Mm-hmm. Discuss lifestyle choices. We like to travel as a family. We discussed the where we want to go one day, how we want to get there. So, these lifestyle choices we're making for our family may not work for you and your family based on the income that you bring in. So, these are things that we set aside money for. And
also, like where you live.
Right.
If you're going to be one income family or 2 income family, or if, everybody is working a 9 to 5, or if you got entrepreneurship, or however your money flows, that needs to be a choice that there's agreement upon. So you've got to have that conversation and decide, how do we go about, when do we, some people may just go out walking through Walmart, decide they're going to buy a new TV.
Right.
Yeah. See, we don't really flow like that. We need plans. And then other people will save up specifically for the things they want to purchase. So they may decide, we buy a car and we don't buy another car for the next 15 years. We pay it off quickly and we go without having a car payment. Some people, we are going to always keep a new car because for whatever reasons, we want to always keep a new car. We don't want to have to worry about maintenance or upkeep or all that. So they might be that family might be okay with recycling cars frequently. Where are you going to live? You living in a $500,000 house, or you renting? Are you living in an apartment? Those are lifestyle choices that need to be made consciously, because if you're living in an apartment and one spouse believes that you all should be living in a $300,000 house, and the other spouse is going, it feels like you're being held captive. And then the other person may feel like, well, you don't think the apartment is good enough, but that's what we can afford. And on the other hand, the other person might be saying, well, why aren't we working towards moving to something bigger? So you have to be in agreement with your lifestyle choices. Do we buy used cars? Do we buy brand new cars? Do we pay cash for cars and just fix on them? Whatever you decide is your lifestyle choice, that needs to be weighed by both members of the marriage, so that decision can be agreed upon, and then why you're getting a used car instead of a brand new car, because you're in agreement, not that someone's forcing it on the other spouse.
And I think I heard Trina's father tell this story one time, and he was talking about whether money was being brought in the house by both spouses. If you were just gonna live on one spouse check, that might mean the difference in you living or buying if both spouses were bringing money in, that means you can drive a Cadillac. But if you don't, if only one spouse working the household, sometimes the husband, then you might have to drive a Toyota Corolla. But both cars do what you needed to do in order to sustain your lifestyle. So when that lifestyle conversation comes up, y'all need to know how much money that y'all are bringing in the house. And one thing I want to say right here, don't overextend yourself. I know that from experience. Don't overextend. Don't spend more money than you're actually bringing into your household. Try to live as closely out of one check in your household that you can possibly do. Don't spend both. Don't let all the money that you bring in go out. Always have a financial percentage that you spend. I think our bishop said he lived on the 70-30 or the 70-10-10-10. Is that what he said? Do you familiar with that?
On the spot.
I'm just asking. If you don't know, you don't know. But I think he said he lives on the 70-30 percentage, and the bishop can correct me on this. But he don't spend everything.
80-10-10, but
it might be one of those. What I'm basically saying, don't spend everything that's coming into your household, and especially if it's two good incomes coming in. Do not overextend yourselves.
I think that's what saved us early on when we started, picking up debt and everything. Is for some reason, we always had the mindset that we should be able to live out of one income. I think it was because we didn't have kids, and so we were thinking that it would be wise if we set ourselves up so that we could live on one income. We never accomplished that task, but I think it kept us from being so far extended that we would be in a bind.
I think we're closer now than we've ever been.
On living on one income? Yeah. So
we're definitely working towards that as we're coming to those retirement age years. So we're still working on that one. Another thing that you need to recognize with money matters is recognize your difference in personality. And me and my wife actually had a conversation about this tonight. About what's your personality? What are your spending habits? What do you do, and where do your spending habits come from? And I told her, I said, well, I really don't know where my spending habits come from, But she always called me a penny pitcher and cheap. And I don't spend a whole bunch of money on a lot of stuff. So I don't know where my spending habits come from. That's something I'm going to have to sit back and think about. You got something to say to that? Okay. All right. Sometimes some things are better just let us say it.
Hold my peace is what I would do.
All right. Don't let salary difference come between you. Does it really matter who made the most money? That's a question I'm going to pose to the group in a marriage. Does it matter who makes the most money? And my question is, if you are a team and you are a partnership, it should not matter, because the money should be the money should be used as an instrument to make your lifestyle work, or to move your household forward. So it really doesn't matter who made the most money, but we know in the years past that it's always been the man's supposed to be the breadwinner.
Well, that's just some old stuff. We're not even revisiting that. Because, I mean, people, as generations have come along, that definitely has changed. I mean, there's just no reason to even focus on thinking that way. It has to be a team effort. We talked about team being a team, working together as a team. I think that was last week we talked about that, or the week before. And that's just a very important concept. It's a very important concept to realize that you're on the same team. So it doesn't matter who scored how many points in a game. The team wins or loses as a team. And the same is true with your finances, but you have to have a plan for how you manage that. But you can't let the amount of money a person brings in define that person's level of significance in the relationship. That cannot be.
No.
Nor does age. I'm going to throw that in too. You know, when you have an age gap between spouses, that doesn't make one person the child and one person the parent. You're still equal partners. And so that age difference can't become, you don't want to, a healthy marriage is not a parental type relationship.
No.
I'm going to just leave that right there.
And because you make more money don't give you an upper hand in the marriage. You know, that is a way to destroy marriage. You know, there should not be a time in the marriage where because you make more money, you get more say-so. Those two things are not equal. There still should be equal say-so, whether you're bringing in 70% of the income or 10% of the income. There still should be an equal say-so because you're a team. Right. And just a little correction, looking at some of the comments, and I was talking about the percentages. The bishop was like, it's 60-40, or the percentages.
See, he started with 80-10-10. See, I was right. Then grew to 70-30.
And now he's at 60-40.
Okay, so we were right and wrong at the same time.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Bishop.
Thank you.
That
See that agreement?
We'll have to get you to clarify that 60-40 because I don't know how that breaks down.
Yeah.
We'll have to get you to help us out with that.
All right. Now, this is a very important situation. Point right here is keep purchases out in the open. Let each other know what you're buying. If you bought a new dress, you bought a new pair of shoes, or it's something that you shouldn't come in the closet, throw in the closet and hide, or hide in the truck or in the garage or anything like that. Keep purchases out in the open. And the word that we have for that is financial infidelity. That's a pretty solid word. That means you are you're cheating on the finances. And it can almost feel like if you do it enough, it feels like you're being unfaithful in your marriage.
Yeah. It's a level of infidelity. It breaks down trust. And honestly, when you plan together how you're going to manage your finances, you don't have to hide purchases because that can be built into what the family chooses to spend money on. It's not always just about paying bills. You have to have some room in there for recreation. You want to have some room in there for clothing. I mean, that's a necessity. I mean, it may be that you got to learn some self-control, that you can't buy everything you want to buy, or you may have to learn that you save up for it. But what you don't want to do is to violate your partner's trust by being untrustworthy. by being unfaithful to the plan that you've established together. Which is why it's good if you can get to a point to where you have some autonomy, to where you have enough income, or you have your percentages worked out to where each person has some money that's just theirs. That's not that they can make decisions with outside of their relationship. It just depends on where you are with your finances. But you want each other to have some flexibility to be a free adult, to make those decisions without which I don't know, maybe that's just our opinion on that.
Could be.
But I just have a strong need to. It seems to me most adults will want to have some freedom and some flexibility in their finances.
Right. And I was watching a movie, don't judge me, called Crazy Rich Asians. And in that particular movie, one of the females in that movie, her family was very, very well off. And she married a husband who was, he grew up in a working family, probably middle class Asian, but she used to hide her purchases from him. I mean, she would come in the house because she didn't want him to seem inadequate. She would come in and throw a $500,000 diamond on top of the refrigerator, hide millions and millions of dollars of jewelry in her luggage and places that he wouldn't look, so he wouldn't feel inadequate to who she was. But and in the end, he felt inadequate anyway, and actually started cheating on her because he didn't feel like he was man enough to be the person she was, and she was slacking herself. So, and I said that to say this: keep everything out in the open, whatever it is. If you was poor and you married into a rich family, it is what it is. You learn how to adapt to the new circumstances. Yeah. You don't have to. That person shouldn't have to dumb themselves down for you. You can enlighten yourself and become a person, learning how to manage wealth.
Well, two become one.
Right. So it's one of those things that just that example brought about when it talked about financial infidelity. You got anything else to say about that situation? All right. Another point is set your expectations about your finances. Together. Set your expectations together about your finances. That word together is very important. I'm sorry I left that out. But like we stated earlier, if you know what's coming in the house, you know what you need in order to make your household work. Set your expectations to what you're bringing in. If you're in a situation where you're spending more than what you're bringing in, it may be time to get rid of something. Or like Trina said, go out and get some extra job to bring in some extra money. But the extra money don't mean spending extra money on something else. You're setting your income where you can manage it and you can live a lifestyle that is free from stress for money.
Well, I think one thing about setting your expectations together is you need to have similar beliefs, financial beliefs. Your belief systems need to be similar. If you are, we hope that everyone listening would be open to the concept of tithing. That's a spiritual concept where you're honoring God first. It's God's plan. And so having you both on the same page for tithing is a good place to start. If you're not getting the same beliefs or the same teachings to where you don't believe the same way of managing your finances, that's where you've got to start. Is you have to get to some common ground so that you both are believing the same thing about your finances, so that you can be on the same page, and that then your expectations match up because you are thinking the same way. You've got similar goals. Your expectations then adjust to those parameters that you set within your relationship.
All right. Good information. All right. And the last one we're going to talk about is do not let the kids run the show. And what do I mean by that? Don't let your kids run the show. What you think I mean by that, boo?
Oh, I imagine what is self-explanatory.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, the kids don't get to dictate what happens to the finances in the family. And I'd even go one further, which I think a lot of people don't do. And over Thanksgiving, my mom was just saying that this was something they did not do and which they had done a better job of, which is to be more transparent in the family finances. Teach your kids how much things cost.
Right.
Teach your kids why we're not spending $300 at the fair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, versus we have a $75 budget for the fair and this is why. You know, teach your kids about setting a budget. Teach your kids about them understanding how much things cost. I make a point.
Tell them about the conversation you and our youngest daughter had shared about going to school, about college, and she didn't know actually how much college costs.
Yeah, she just felt like, you know, when it's time to go to college, you just pick a college and go there. And I said, no, that's not quite the way it works. You know, you have to look at how much the college costs and what we can afford to pay. Now, if you want to go to a college like your sister's going to, you're going to have to do like your sister did and earn some scholarships. Because what we can afford to pay out of pocket is much less than what the college tuition bill says. Mm-hmm. But because there's money out there, and she was able to secure a good bit of it, so she was able to go there. We're still paying a little bit out of pocket, but it's not more than what we can reasonably afford to pay. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I told you, you'll be right here in Augusta going to something we can pay out of pocket if you're not able to successfully procure the financial support through, you know, grades or talent or something that will help get you some money to pay for college. We're not in the tax bracket to where they just give you a free education. You just, you know, show up and they say, oh, we'll pay for everything. We're not in that category. We're in the category in the middle to where they say, oh, we'll give you a little bit and you take care of the rest. Mm-hmm. And so we have to be able to send you to school where it is that we can afford to send you. Right. So that was a dose of reaction. Her mouth just dropped. She just figured, she just had a big old college fund somewhere, you know, all these millions of dollars just sitting around waiting to be spent. And I said, no, baby, that's not what it is. Oh. You know, you can even start saving. You know, you like to sell, you like to make money. You can start saving now. Towards that effort if you want to, but I highly recommend you stay on those grades to try to get some of that free money. Yep. Because the cost of college helps make the decision about where you go to college. Not just because you like a sports team or you like a specific city. We have to make a realistic choice.
Yeah, and we also
a lot of people agree with that.
Yeah, and we've also talked to our children about, you know, Christmas, and we've been budgeting Christmas for years since they were little. Yeah, we say you're going to get 3 gifts.
Good enough for Jesus.
Good enough for you. And this year we even limited them to a dollar amount. Yeah. So, you know, budget what you want out of that dollar amount. So this is our way of teaching them that money matters.
Right.
You know, it just doesn't, you know, daddy go to work every day, mama go to work every day, or daddy does something to earn some extra money, that means I can spend it. No, that's not what that means.
Right.
There's a specific reason daddy is doing what he's doing, or mama's doing what she's doing. And the reason we're teaching you how to try to manage your money, so you understand how money matters as you become older and as you grow, and when you become that adult and you're taking care of your responsibilities, that you know somewhat about what you're doing. Mm-hmm. All right. So, yeah. With that said, I think that's the end of the broadcast tonight. As far as
there's more we could discuss, and we may save it for next week to just talk about how finances, taking a deeper look at how it affects your marriage relationship, your interactions with each other. We can look at some strategies for that. This was just sort of a basic rundown what we did today, some very loose general tips, but we've got some more information that we'll share with you related to money next week. So I guess we'll continue Money Matters
next week.
Yeah, coming up to Christmas, I think that's a good topic. So
Yes,
we
sir.
appreciate you guys and all your encouragement. We do see them. So we appreciate the good comments. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed this lesson.
All right, just another update. You know, Bishop put it in the comments. If y'all been reading the comments, y'all see how he separated his 60-40 percentages is living off less than 60% after tithe, savings, seed, and investment accounts. So that means 40% of his money seems to be free. So he says living on 60% after tithes. 60% of his money is free. My fault. I don't know. Maybe we just need to let him discuss that.
Exactly.
I apologize. We'll just let Bishop discuss that at some point. So y'all can bring. If she looking at me like, what?
Exactly.
So maybe I didn't make any sense to you either. But with that said, that will end our broadcast. You got any closing remarks?
Nope. I think that'll do it.
Okay. All right. From the lady and the coach, we love y'all. Good night.